Come on, panelists, unmute yourselves. All right.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Oh my God, you have a cat. Look at that. That's awesome. All right. And guys, today it's totally awesome Tuesday. Yes, according to Manny Sanchez, one of our team members, he dictates what each day is. So totally awesome Tuesday. So welcome everyone to Sustainachella. We are super excited that today we are going to be talking about one of our main topics, the most voted topics, recycling. My name is Flavia Tognoli. I'm the sustainability manager with the city of Miami Beach. And we also have Yanni Pineda with us. Say hi, Yanni.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yanni, the senior sustainability coordinator with the city. How are you?
All right. And we also have Betsy Wheaton, our director.
Hi. Nice to see everyone here. Thank you.
Awesome. And we'll be soon introducing our panelists. Before we do that, Yanni, are you ready? Let's start warming up the chat. Let's see who are the folks in here. All right,
I'm going to send out a poll for everyone to answer. We want to know a little bit more about you. So let's give this a shot. Did it go out?
Yep, it's out. All right, so we want to know where you guys are from and what type of recycler are you? Ooh, I already see some recycling pros in the crowd. Let's see. I'm going to wait until more folks join. Come on, guys. We're about 48%, 58. Oh, cool. We have a lot of other cities in Florida. Nobody from outside of Florida? What? Let's see what else. We're about 71%. Come on, guys. Join in. Answer the poll. And we're about 87%. Yeah, folks are slow to join, Yanni. So what do you think? Should we wrap up here? You want to share the results?
Sure, let's share the results. All right.
Cool. All right. As you guys can see, majority from Miami Beach. Hey, welcome. Welcome, Miami Beach community, and help us welcome our communities from Coral Gables, West Palm Beach, and all over Florida. And let's see what type of recycler are you guys. 45% are recycling pros. I want to see that. I want to see if you guys can really answer Shiraz questions today. 21% beginners. 21% I try to recycle, but it's confusing. I know it's so confusing. I know. I have questions for Shiraz today. I get it, guys. I'm with you. And I am canting with recycle. I'm canting. Right? I've been through that too. So Shiraz is here to help us, and we're super excited to have you guys here. All right, Yanni. So I think we can stop sharing the results now, if you wanna, and we are going to keep on moving. Let's see if we can move. Here we go. Yanni, you gonna do the housekeeping?
Hold on, I just realized I was muted. So for all of you who are joining us for the first time, just a heads up that you've probably noticed that you're both muted and your videos are also disabled. It's just to make sure that there isn't any funny business like Zoom bombing. If you have any questions, we really encourage that you use the Q&A box because it'll keep your question from getting lost within the chat. And lastly, we really want you to share your thoughts and engage with everybody else that's here on this webinar with us. So please use the chat, and when you send out comments, make sure you check on check to everyone, and also or all panelists and attendees. It'll make sure that everyone can see your comments.
Awesome, thanks, Yanni. And now, Yanni, going to the next Sustainachellas of the month.
Yep, so we have another Sustainachella this Thursday on hurricane preparation, so we encourage everyone to please join us. We have a couple of other fun stuff coming up the rest of the month. We're going to talk about sea turtles next week, and then we're going to talk about urban farming at the end of June, around June 25. So please register. The website is right there. It's mbrisingabove.com/Sustainachella.
Awesome, super excited for that. Okay. And now we have a very important and exciting announcement to do today. And Betsy Wheaton is here. Elizabeth Wheaton will give us the announcement.
Thank you, Flavia. So on Friday, for those of you who joined Sustainachella, I was the one who had to give the bad news that we weren't sure when the beaches were open. But amazing news, The beach is open tomorrow, so get your bikinis out. Make sure you have your mask. I'm going to put in the chat the website where you can learn all about the reopening. Make sure that you're following all the rules. And most importantly, because this is a webinar about recycling, I really want to focus on the importance of keeping our beaches clean when you go back out there. We've worked tirelessly to remove a lot of the small plastic litter and debris that accumulates on our shores. So the beaches are gorgeous and definitely ready to be enjoyed by all the beachgoers, but we kindly ask that you pick up your litter and leave with no trace. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, please, masks. Take your masks with you. Yeah, I cannot share. It's my screen. Take your masks with you. Take your gloves with you. Don't leave anything in the beaches, but your footprints, and just take pictures. So, all right. And guys, I just realized that I didn't have my chat open here, and I'm seeing Les from Coconut Grove. Yeah, Les, you're here. Michelle from Candle, and then Scotty, I think I'm pronouncing it right, hopefully, living in Miami, but representing the Netherlands. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for joining. All right.
We love the Netherlands and Miami Beach. So much to learn.
Very true. Okay, cool. So I am going to introduce our friends and panelists today. All right. So super excited. We have today with us Shiraz with Waste Management. Say hi, Shiraz.
Hello, everybody.
Woohoo! I thought that you were going to do some type of magic, man. Or like have a cat suddenly appear, you know, something crazy like that, like bats.
I'm not that good yet. I'm not that good yet. Like, the only thing I can do is like this, right?
Oh, good. And then we have Matt with Coral Gables.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And Elaine from West Palm Beach.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. All right. So we're going to start with Shiraz. And Shiraz, here you go. You have to keep me.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, here we go.
Absolutely.
We'll do this.
So before you hit the next slide, let me, it's okay. No
and of
problem.
course, I hit the next slide. I didn't say that.
It's all right. Not a problem. First of all, I'm very happy that you invited me on to present on recycling. I think, as I was talking to you all before, recycling can be confusing at times because every city has their own rules on what can and can't be recycled. Some people, as I saw the poll that you gave to all the attendees, some people just throw in the towel because one city does it this way, their apartment building does it another way, and their friends do it another way. So today, I have the pleasure of kind of simplifying recycling to showing what the core items that everyone can recycle. And again, I'm going to try to make this presentation as easy to follow. After 15 years in the industry, this presentation is practically all pictures, right? So I'm hoping everyone can follow along, and for all the panelists, you all are welcome to join in. We can have a discussion on anything that's questionable or anything, okay? And Betsy, you're welcome to bring your cat back on. If we need a subject matter expert, we can bring the cat, and Matt, you're welcome to chime in.
Little known fact, my cat was the first recycling mascot in Miami Beach. He's been on a few PSAs. So.
Well, wait a second, Matt, did you want to say something about the cat being?
Yes, Matt, go for it.
Go ahead, Matt. Yeah, there you go. So we had a thing that the first person that was going to say meow gets a pat on the back, all right? So, okay, so let's, before you go to the next slide, let me give a little more information on waste management, ladies and gentlemen. So Waste Management is the nation's largest environmental services provider with the largest recycling company and the largest garbage hauler as well. Mainly in South Florida, Waste Management has 5 recycling facilities throughout Florida. A lot of our recycling facilities are usually a hub, and a lot of different cities feed into the processing, the recycling facilities. Our biggest recycling facility is located in Pembroke Pines, and we get material from Broward County, Miami-Dade County, Collier County, Martin County sometimes brings to us, and also Monroe County, the Keys. So keep in mind that our facility is massive. We're a 100,000 square foot footprint, and we process anywhere from 45 to 50 tons in 1 hour. At the end of this presentation, I have a very brief video that you'll see the whole processing, and I'll narrate so everyone can see, this stuff just isn't picked up at your home and it disappears. There is a whole process, and I know some people get very skeptical. I'm here to tell you that everything that comes at our recycling facility does get recycled, but there are some challenges that we're going to be talking about as well, okay? So with that being said, Flavia, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so want to be very clear, ladies and gentlemen, that our recycling facilities in Florida, but especially at Rooter over in Pembroke Pines, where the material from Miami-Dade County goes to, most of the cities from Miami-Dade County, is a single stream recycling facility. Historically, recycling has been dual stream. That means that instead of one container you have at your house and you put everything inside, you had 2 containers. As a matter of fact, Palm Beach County Solid Waste Authority is the governing body in Palm Beach County. They still have dual stream program throughout the county, in Palm Beach County. So if you live in Palm Beach County, and Elaine, chime in if you would like, you have a dual stream recycling program. So all your bottles and cans go into one container and all your paper goes into another. When the truck comes around, it's designed differently. It has 2 different compartments, and the driver picks up the first container filled with paper, puts it on one side, and then goes around and puts the other container on the other side. And the recycling facility in Palm Beach County is designed for dual stream recycling as well. So there's a bit of a difference when it comes to that. Elaine, do you want to add anything?
You described it perfectly.
Okay. Very good, very good, very good. Okay, so please keep in mind that everything that I'm going to be talking about today really relates to the single stream recycling system, but the acceptability list also 90% of the time applies to dual stream as well. And Elaine, please chime in if there's anything you want to add when I'm going into the list, okay? Another thing that's very important that all of the viewers know, that recycling symbol that you see, that is called the Mobius loop, okay? Now, you may see that chasing arrows, that recycling symbol all over the place. That doesn't necessarily mean you can recycle the item. Unfortunately, when companies take that symbol and they use it for marketing purposes, they just slap it on whatever just so they can, move their material, right? That recycling symbol originally was designed for engineers to know what type of plastic the material was. So, usually you'll see one of these recycling symbols on the bottom of a plastic bottle, and then in the middle of it would be a number, anywhere from 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 7 or even 8 or 9. But most of the time it's usually 1 through 7. And we'll talk about those numbers as well. But keep in mind that recycling symbol, and I know this does get a bit confusing when people hear this. It's not necessarily a good indicator if it could be recycled. I will give you a very easy way to know if you can recycle a container or not, and I promise we're going to simplify everything. Okay, next slide. All right, so moving forward, these are all the correct items that you all are going to recycle, right? The correct items. So move forward. Okay, I'm pretty sure that being quarantined in your house, you probably have, people have probably become experts at ordering stuff from Amazon or I don't know, Walmart or Chewy for their pets or wherever, right? As online ordering, e-commerce grows and grows and grows, there's going to be more and more cardboard that residents are going to be having at their, at their houses. Cardboard is perfectly good for recycling. It's actually very good for recycling. The only thing I ask people, make sure it's flattened. If you keep the tape on there, that's fine. The labels on there, that's fine. That's not a problem. Even if you get something more heavy, like the heavy duty, and the cardboard has staples on the side, if you get like a TV, that's fine also. Just make sure you either cut it or flatten it and put it in your recycling bin, okay?
So Shiraz, you bring a very good point, because like I think a lot of folks get very confused about, you know, like the Amazon one that comes with the tapes, like with everything. So everything, we can leave everything there, right? Correct.
Make sure it's empty, and anything that's stuck on the outside, just flatten and put it. It's, you know, someone asked me about, you know how sometimes UPS boxes will have that plastic sleeve where they has a plastic with the paper inside. It's not a big issue. You can leave that. You can either rip it off, but if it's too much of a hassle, because sometimes it gets so stuck on there that it's very difficult to take off, you can leave it on there. Okay. So, okay, next slide. Another thing when it comes to fiber or paper products is cardboard, but also this is called chipboard. Usually it's like cookies, crackers, or cereal. This stuff is perfectly fine. Make sure it's empty. Take the plastic out and throw it away and flatten it and put it in your recycling. Next slide. And of course, magazines and newspapers. Just for the panels, by a show of hands, does anyone still get the newspaper at their house? I'm very impressed. Let's see. You get the newspaper. That's awesome. All right. So,
hey guys, you guys can actually raise hand. There is a tool there that you can raise hand. Just letting you know.
Right.
Yeah.
There is.
So
okay.
If folks on 5, 6, 8, see, there is a bunch of people raising hands right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you still get the newspaper, that's perfectly fine. Put it in your recycling. Obviously, as time is going on, everything's moving to the internet. So, you know, we're getting less and less newspaper in our stream, but more cardboard. And of course, magazines, put them in there. That's not a problem. You know, when the holiday season comes, we get a lot of catalogs. Matt, do you order anything from this company called J. Peterman?
Oh.
Welcome to the meeting. Huh? So anyway, what I meant by that is that any type of catalog that you get, you can put it in your recycling bin. Okay.
So Shiraz, I have a question about that. What about, you know, because sometimes like, you know, folks might put like a can of Coke in and not wash it, and then they put with the magazines, Coke getting to the magazines.
Right.
Can you still throw the wet Coke magazine in the recycling?
Tell you what, that's actually a very good question. Let me hit the pause button on that, because we'll address that in just a second.
All right, perfect.
Okay, we'll address that.
And I forgot to read one of the questions for you before regarding the package from Amazon.
Yeah, go for it.
My Amazon envelopes say to remove the packaging label on it and make it recyclable. Can I recycle it in Miami-Dade County even with the label?
The answer is yes, absolutely. That this does not impede the recycling process. It does not give us a problem. You can leave it on there. Not an issue. The only Amazon products you're not going to put, and I think Flavia, we may go over this, but it's the padded, you know, the one with the bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap. Yeah.
Right.
That's
those things are pure
we'll
plastic.
Go over it.
Okay,
awesome.
We'll go over that later. And I think, was there any other hands up? I thought there was more hands.
I think we are good so far.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the other one will live towards the end, because it's more related to weird stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, so in this image, this is here to show you that mail is also accepted. You know, it's when political season later on this year comes around, when as I mentioned, holiday season, you're going to get a ton of mail. All that stuff can go into the recycling, including the envelopes with the windows on it. You know, the cellophane window, that's not a big issue. You can put it in the recycling. Okay. All right. Here's where we get a little more, there will probably be a little more questions on this, but keep in mind that there's essentially 3 types of plastic that you use typically, like I want to say like 80% of the time, right? That you buy from the market, or you get from maybe when you go out, or if you go out. It's the first thing is number 1 plastics, which are also called polyethylene terephthalate, or PET for short. Okay. Usually, if you see these type of bottles, you look on the bottom, you see the recycling symbol. as I mentioned earlier, and there'll be a number 1 inside of it. Okay, so those are number 1 PET bottles. It's important that people understand typically number 1s don't always come clear. There's like 7-Up bottles are like green. Sprite bottles are green. What other colors? What other brands and colors am I missing for PET bottles? I mean, is there any blue? No blue, right? Okay, but I guess not. No one's saying anything, so the answer is no. There's what like root beer bottles. That's right. So if there's like a IBC, is that the name of the brand? I don't know. Whatever. Someone will correct me on the chat. All right. So anyway, number 1 bottles. Keep in mind that those are acceptable. Water bottles, 2-liter bottles, and so on. Okay. Next slide, please.
And Shiraz, before we move to the next one, so because I know that with the symbol gets confusing. So all those bottles, like any of the water bottles, right, that we buy in the supermarket, pretty much those we can recycle, right? Because some folks might get confused with, looking on the bottle and seeing number 1 versus whatever number it is. So.
And yes, actually, you bring up a very good point. Can you go to the next slide and I'll address that? Okay. So you mentioned water bottles. So the second type of containers that are also accepted, plastic containers that are also accepted are, and I know some people may be asking about the caps. I'll address the caps in just a second. So when it comes to the next type of plastic container, these are number 2, high density polyethylene or HDPE natural plastics. There's 2 types of number 2 plastics. This is the first, called natural HDPE. And number 2, keep in mind that milk, water, orange juice, maybe iced tea, you go to Publix or whatever, Winn-Dixie, you'll get this stuff. And this is perfectly acceptable. Flavia, if you can go to the next one as well.
Yeah, and folks are asking about the caps, Shiraz.
Right. Go to the 3rd slide, and I'll address the caps. Okay, so this is the last type of plastic that's also accepted. This is also a number 2 plastic, high density polyethylene, but this is referred to as pigmented. So in other words, it has a type of color to it, right? Like Tide, Gain, All when it comes to detergent bottles. If you have shampoo, conditioner bottles, you have like, they're oddly shaped. Some of them look oval like this, or they're also, like for lotion, like maybe, I don't know. I can't think of obviously I don't moisturize my skin with lotion, so I'm at a blank when it comes to a brand, but you all get the idea. You can recycle that whole container, take out the pump, throw that away. Okay, now, when it comes to the caps, it's important that people understand, take off the caps and throw them away. And I'll explain to you why. If you leave the cap on, it's not a big deal. It still gets recycled. But if you keep the cap off, what happens over time is that if you put it in the recycling, the cap's off and there's a little bit of liquid left, it automatically drains when the truck collects it. So we tell people to take off the caps. But if you leave the caps on, to be honest with you, it still gets recycled. So it's not that big of a deal. The fact that people are putting the correct things in the recycling is the win. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? I mean, it's like some people, what I've experienced in the past, people get so confused, they get so caught up with the cap issue that they just don't recycle at all. And I'm going to explain to you what the bigger issue is that'll make the cap issue non-existent, and you'll see in just a second. But Flavia, if you can go back to the PET. No, go back. All right. So another thing that I want to make very clear, ladies and gentlemen, go back one more slide, Flavia. All of the plastic bottles that I showed in this slide, they all have one common thing. Every one of them is a narrow neck. In other words, the neck of the bottle is smaller than the body. Look at this picture. Do you see all of those necks smaller than the body, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yes. Go to the next slide. Is the neck of that bottle smaller than the body?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Go to the next slide. The neck of these bottles are also small. You may say, well, wait a second, this detergent bottle, if you unscrew it, it's still going to be a narrow neck, right? So again, the very simple way to know if you can recycle the plastic bottle is the neck smaller than the body. And if the answer is yes, then you can recycle it.
And Shiraz, it's Matt. You took the words out of my mouth, because I think that's a lot of things we do as a city is we've been going away from marketing the number system as we all did, the last couple of years, and start going toward just saying, look, narrow neck plastic bottles will usually be safe in recycling that.
Right. Thank you, Matt, for chiming in. I think that's very important that people need to hear that this is your litmus test, if you will. This is how you know if you can recycle plastic. Does anyone else want to add, Yanni, Elaine, Flavia, about narrow necks? I mean, do you get questions on what type of plastics can be recycled?
And I see Betsy's trying to talk. So Betsy,
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Because of everything with COVID, a lot of us are using, there we go, a lot more of these Lysol wipes. It comes in a plastic container as a way to make sure that, we're sanitizing and helping to not spread the virus. Is this recyclable?
Okay, so that's a very good question. I've been getting that question quite often. If I can ask you a favor, can you tell me what number does it say on the bottom? I'm assuming it says number 2, HDPE. Yes? Good. Okay. Yes. So that's a pigmented number 2 container. And even though the rule I'm saying it's only narrow necks are allowed, there are certain exceptions to the rule, and that container right there can be accepted as long as it's empty, and take off the cap and throw it away. Okay. So yes, thank you for bringing that up, Betsy.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm assuming everyone, no questions, Flavia, from?
No, we actually have a comment here from Sophie that they find hundreds, sometimes thousands of these bottle caps during their beach cleanups. They are the number 1 pollutant. And she says, I doubt that there is a proper and effective recycling process for those caps.
Unfortunately, there are some recycling plants, I don't want to say some recycling, there are some organizations that collect the caps, and they gather, once they get a bundle of them, they'll take it to the recycling facility or a recycling facility, and they kind of cash it in for money that they go towards a good cause or something. But, our recycling facility is designed for single stream recycling from residential and commercial. So we don't have the capacity of just taking bottle caps. But if there is a recycling facility out there or an organization that take that, by all means, they may need to look for that. But I'm with them. I used to do a lot of cleanups years ago, and it's just the amount of stuff you find on the beach is like ridiculous. Like, who puts this stuff over there? Why would they bring this stuff there? And so on, right? So I think the bigger issue is they're just plastics and ocean. That's where there's a massive issue over there,
Yeah. And Shiraz, there is another one here from Amy. I understood that the ink on the labels that make them toxic and not able to recycle. Also, what about paper box trainers? Example, soup, almond milk, etc. And there's another question about almond milk. You're going to cover that, right?
Right, we're going to cover that in just a second. That's a very good question. Very good question. Okay, let's go to the next, unless there's any more questions.
There is just one about, Philip asked, how about aseptic containers?
We're going to address that. The answer is yes, but we'll talk more about that.
Okay, cool.
So, when it comes to metal, there's 2 types of metals in the recycling facility, in the recycling industry. That are accepted. It's ferrous and non-ferrous metal. So ferrous means iron, ladies and gentlemen. So what you're seeing on the screen, this is aluminum. Aluminum does not have any iron, so this is referred to as a non-ferrous metal. In other words, if you take a magnet to the metal, it will not stick, okay? So aluminum cans, I think everyone knows that this is very good environmentally if you recycle these. If you ever look up how aluminum is made, it's a very chemical intense process that does a lot of dredging on the earth. So again, the more you recycle aluminum, the better it is environmentally, okay? So yes, aluminum is good. Coke, Pepsi, I don't know, Matt, is there any particular drink you like to?
I have still water. Still water.
You have still water? That's even awesome. Perfect. Like Perrier, I think, comes in a can also. So yeah. Okay, next slide. And of course, steel and tin. Did someone ask about steel and tin, Flavia, on the in a previous question?
I don't think, yeah, they keep
Okay.
going ahead. So I'm just
Okay.
going to leave the questions towards the end, because then we can
That's
always go
fine.
back. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. So when it comes to steel and tin cans, usually it's like cooking for like those beans, you know, those Goya beans, or I don't know what else is it, like tomatoes, tomato paste, dog food, cat food. But you have to be careful when it comes to pet food, because they're trying to conserve costs. They're trying to you know, cut corners. Some dog or cat food, the sides are made of plastic, so that becomes like a composited material, and those, unfortunately, you can't recycle. Usually, you know if it's steel or tin, if you just press on the sides, and if it doesn't bounce back, then obviously it's not plastic, so you can recycle that. Make sure it's empty. You can leave the labels on, okay? Okay, next slide. And one of your folks, one of the attendees asked about aseptic material, and the answer is yes, as I mentioned. Tropicana, Parmalat, Juicy Juice, all these items are accepted. Organic milk, I don't know, like what type of organic milk? There's like cashew milk, coconut milk,
Banana milk, oat milk.
Oat milk, what else? Hemp milk.
Macadamia milk.
I mean, you can name it, they make a milk from it, right? So, which I think is awesome. There's a lot of milk alternative out there. I've been really enjoying coconut milk, which is
Very
tasty,
nice.
you know. So yes. Now there's different names for this. It's Terra packs, Tetra packs, aseptic containers, juice boxes, milk cartons, you name it. But all this stuff is accepted. Okay.
Awesome. And Shiraz, question, do we have to wash them before we throw in the recycling bin?
I would love for people to wash their containers, all of their containers. Like I think what I was referring to about the steel and tin, someone asked about, do we have to wash the steel and tin containers? And the answer is yes, please wash them out. But I know, I mean, everyone, there's like 47 attendees in here, and I know everyone is very responsible. So this message doesn't go out to you all because you're cool. Other people, they don't necessarily wash out their containers. I've had at the recycling facility, a 1-gallon jug of milk I've seen on the tipping floor in the recycling facility with milk still in it. And it's not a little bit of milk, almost half the container, 1 gallon. It's like a half a gallon of milk still in there. And it was on the tipping floor. And I was like, that is really disgusting. So at the very least, if people can empty out their containers, that's awesome. But if you can wash it out, that's even better. Cool? Okay, next slide. And glass, okay. There's a little bit of complexity with glass, and let me explain this. So keep in mind, when it comes to recycling programs, there's two types. There's commercial recycling and residential recycling. In residential recycling, in other words, for single-family homes, typically, glass is accepted. I want to repeat that. Glass, clear, green, and brown, is acceptable in residential recycling programs. So, commercial recycling programs that are offered to businesses, malls, retail places, and also condominiums, waste management programs, except for Coral Gables and Miami Beach, glass is not accepted. I hope I didn't confuse anyone. Let me repeat that once again. If you live in Coral Gables, and Matt, chime in if need be, okay? If you live in Coral Gables and you have a business, glass is accepted. Same thing with Miami Beach. If you have a business at Miami Beach, glass is accepted in commercial recycling. However, if you're like, let's say in the city of, I don't know, like let's say you're in Hialeah or something, typically glass is not accepted in commercial recycling programs. Okay.
Shiraz, would that
Yes.
include condos? In Miami Beach, we have a lot of condos. So
Correct.
Are they able to recycle glass?
Very good question. So yes, keep in mind that condominiums do fall under that commercial list. And if they're in Coral Gables or Miami Beach, glass is accepted. Again, glass is accepted in condominiums and high rises in Miami Beach and Coral Gables.
Awesome. And then Shiraz, what about broken glass?
Okay, good question. So, you know, there's always a level of safety that you want to be very careful about. That if you do have broken glass at your house, I would recommend, look, avoid you know, any safety hazard. Throw that glass away, right? It's better if you just throw it away. If it's intact, obviously you can put it in the recycling. But even if you do put broken glass in the recycling, it does get recycled. Okay. But remember, I think safety is paramount. I think safety is very important. So I would prefer people throw away the broken glass just so you don't cut yourself. Okay, next slide. So, ladies and gentlemen, we went over all of the items that are accepted. And Flavia, how am I doing on time? I'm not going over yet, am I?
You're still good.
I'm good?
Yeah, I would say about like 7-8 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna run right through the items that you can't recycle, and please, I want to try to finish this within like 2 or 3 minutes, okay? And then we can show the video. And I'm assuming we haven't lost any attendees, so that's a good thing. No one's falling asleep, right? Everyone's still interested, so I'm very happy for that. Okay, all right, so these are the items you're not gonna recycle. And number 1 on the list that jam up everything in the recycling facility because it gets all over the place like gum is plastic bags. Not only are they bad for the environment, they're bad for the recycling process, ladies and gentlemen. They slow down everything. Please, please, if you don't need to use plastic bags, don't. Use reusable canvas bags if you can, okay? Very important. And when you're putting stuff in your container, you don't have to bag up your material. Just put it loose in there, okay? If it's clean and dry like it should be, it shouldn't attract flies or anything like that, okay? All right, next slide. And ladies and gentlemen, we get crazy stuff at a recycling facility. The next nastiest thing that we get is food. I told you about the half-gallon milk. It was all curdled and everything. It's really disgusting. But we also get people's dinner, people's half-eaten food in styrofoam containers, which is very bad for the environment and bad for the recycling facility. So no food waste. Okay?
We hate styrofoam. No styrofoam.
Of course, no styrofoam. Absolutely. Okay,
there they are. There they are.
Okay, now some of you may probably know that Publix does take the milk, the egg carton styrofoam at the store. You can take it back over there, but largely styrofoam is not accepted in recycling programs, at least in South Florida. Okay, and I would even say in Florida in general. Okay, next slide, and of course. This is probably something you're wondering, scratching your head, like, why would I put a chair there? We get crazy stuff. Just because it's plastic, ladies and gentlemen, does not mean you can recycle it. The only items you're gonna recycle are narrow necks. Remember, when the neck is smaller than the body, that's it, period. So I would ask, if someone asked me, can I recycle this? In fact, I did ask one student at Florida International University, asking, listen, would you recycle a chair? And his answer was, yes. I'll take the chair, crack it in half, and jam it in my recycling. And I had to tell him, no, you can't do that. So no chairs or anything plastic that's not a narrow neck, don't put it in there. Of course, we get a lot of plants, the potters, you know, if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy pets and stuff, don't put this in. In fact, take it back to them. They may accept them or take them to a nursery. They can always use them, but this is trash. Do not put this in your recycling. And of course, yard waste and vegetation. We are in hurricane season, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, when a hurricane warning is given, a lot of people usually cut all of their, surrounding trees and everything. And if their garbage is full, where do you think they put them? Right into the recycling. So please, no vegetation, ladies and gentlemen. And we get, these are called wrappable items. They're just like the bags, the plastic bags I showed. I forgot to mention, if you do use plastic bags, take them back to Publix, right? I forgot to tell everyone. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that, but Publix has a plastic bag recycling program. You can just put them in there, okay? But when it comes to hoses, this jams up everything. So no garden hoses. We get more of this than you would expect. Very good. Next slide. And same thing with extension cords. When Christmas comes around, when the holiday season comes around, we get a lot of extension cords, but we also get Christmas lights, right? Craziest thing that they jam up everything. It's really bad for the system. A lot of maintenance issues. Next slide, please. And hangers. So I tell people no wire hangers. Okay. Did anyone get that? Matt, do you know what movies?
We are all muted.
Okay.
It's not a joke when you have to explain the joke, Shiraz.
Okay, my bad. All right, so these are fabrics. Okay, I know this sounds crazy. We get ties, we get shirts, we get blouses, we get skirts, we get undergarments, we get shoes, socks, blankets. There is a photo that was taken about 2 years ago with me flashing a flashlight on our tipping floor, and it has a mattress, and the Sun Sentinel reporter shot that image, and it was on the front page of the local section. So I got in the paper flashing a flashlight at a mattress someone put in somehow, some way in the recycling. But remember, no textiles, no fabrics. I don't know why people would put this in there. Donate them, okay? Next slide, please. Okay, these are some images of contamination in the recycling facility. This is very dangerous, what you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. This is a propane tank. It's a pressurized container with flammable gas. In other words, it's a bomb, okay? Do not put them in there. It's never this obvious. They're usually the small Coleman tanks that we find that are very hidden, right? We have to do special training with our employees to get them to look for this stuff and pull it out, okay? Next slide, please. And a lot of sporting goods, golf balls, tennis rackets, hockey sticks, basketballs, tennis, whatever, you name it, stuff comes in. This is all garbage. I asked one of the bucket loader operators to kind of split the recycling in half, and this is what it looks like. You can see all of the wrappable items. You can see the yellow tape. You can see that tarp. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, people are putting more and more contamination in the recycling, especially because we're getting more recycling because everyone's at home because of this pandemic. We're seeing higher levels of contamination. And this is one thing that I forgot to mention.
Yanni, contamination!
I forgot. Yanni, put the sign up. There you go. Oh, the flamingo's blocking
we cannot read it.
We can't see it. The flamingo's blocking it. Oh,
sorry, guys.
There you go. Contamination.
Yanni was supposed to be working on it.
It's okay. We'll do it next time, right?
I was very into the Q&A, sorry.
Good, not a problem. Okay. So this probably looks familiar to everyone. The face mask and these gloves, these latex or plastic or whatever these gloves are made of. Please keep in mind, these are not acceptable in the recycling program. Please throw these away. Even though the safety of our employees, is very important, we give them these specialized hex armor gloves that have Kevlar in them because people put needles in them as well. They have arm guards. We give them, face mask as well, hard hats, boots, everything from head to toe. It's still our safety of our employees sometimes we have to worry quite a bit of them, and don't put any of these in there. This also jams up stuff. Now, what you're seeing in there, same thing goes with metal. Just because it's metal doesn't mean you can recycle it. The only metal you're gonna do is aluminum cans and steel cans. Pots and pans for kitchens, do not put this in there. Take it to a scrap metaler if you need to. People put pallets in there. I don't know how they fit them in there, but it goes in there. And those are not accepted. Next slide. And again, this is, you can see there's a garden hose along with plastic bags. Next slide. You have a receptacle, a trash receptacle, a soap dispenser, and one of those kids' play mats and a sponge. People put all sorts of stuff in there. Next slide. Is that it? Oh, and styrofoam. When you get one of those big TVs and you have the styrofoam that's around the corner, well, people put that stuff in there and that's garbage. I think, is that the last one? Okay.
All right, we made it.
Here are some helpful resources, ladies and gentlemen. By all means, check it out. But let me show you a video. And Flavia, how much time do I have? I don't want to take any from Matt and Elaine. Are we okay?
We are good. We are going to show the video right now. And Yanni is going to pull it up for us. And yeah. And then what we'll do. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. So,
All right.
ladies and gentlemen, this is the recycling facility. It's located in Pembroke Pines. What happens is material comes from us, as I mentioned, from all over South Florida. What it does is the trucks come in from the outside onto our scales and to get weighed. This is the scale house attendant, inputs all the information. The truck actually gets weighed. You can see it weighs on average anywhere from 44,000 pounds. This is the driver that gets out, does all the paperwork. The scale house attendant gives him the sheets to take back to the city, and then they get released to the tipping floor. So the tipping floor is where all the material gets deposited. So there's two ways this happens. When we have material coming from far away, let's say more than 50 miles, it comes from what they call a transfer station. And usually the smaller trucks dump their material at a transfer station and it gets transferred onto these bigger 100-yard trailers. And this is how we empty these out. This is called a tipper. So the trailer actually backs in and unlatches from the cab and goes to almost an 80-degree angle and it gets dumped. And then the bucket loader actually pushes the material out. So the other way we deposit material, the trucks come in and they just open up the back and just let everything out. So the bucket loader puts the material onto a conveyor belt, that's what you're looking at, and it takes it to the sorting process. Now, keep in mind the machines do the majority of the work. This first process that you're seeing, we usually have 1, 2, 3, 4, typically about 5 to 6 people pulling out anything big that would jam up the machines. The machines do the majority of the work again. This process specifically, after they take out the big stuff, the cardboard is being taken out. See? So these are called star screens. And what star screens are, they're shafts going round and round and there's rubber stars. The whole purpose of this is the cardboard glides right over and everything else falls under. You can see the stars kind of working in the background over there. And this gentleman is kind of taking all the material out. It's supposed to be only cardboard, although unfortunately he did miss that salt bag over there, but it's okay. And you can see what the material looks like after so much time that there's a bucket loader that comes and picks this material up and goes to the baler, but I'll show you that in just a second. After the material goes through to get all the cardboard out, it then goes to another set of sorters to take out anything the first sorters missed or the first set of star screens missed, and it goes through a set of 3 different star screens. So it gets sorted by machines 3 times for paper, okay? As you can see, you'll get a closer look at this. The star screens are doing exactly what I mentioned. They go round and round, and the paper is light, so it glides up, and all the heavy material goes down, the bottles and cans, that is. As you can see, this is another angle. You can see we have 2 different lines to prevent any bottlenecks. And then once the paper is sorted out, it goes to the sort house. All this is, it's more quality checks. It's making sure that the paper is only paper. You see that plastic bag is going to be picked out in just a second. So they're making sure it's only paper going into that chute straight to the baler. You can see that there's 2 sort houses and all the material comes to get converged into one conveyor belt. And that conveyor belt takes it to the baler where it makes it into a cube, but we'll talk more about that in just a second. The bottles and cans is what we're gonna see next. So all those bottles and cans that were separated out from the paper goes to a shaker table. That shaker table takes anything that's 2 inches or small out. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of broken glass as we discussed. People do put a lot of that in there, or it breaks during the logistics. So all of that broken glass is actually taken out and put into a storage bunker outside with the rest of the glass. So everything else, after the shaker table process, we separate out the steel containers. Steel with an electromagnet, as you can see, it just pulls it out very simply like that. And then once the steel is taken out, steel or tin, it takes it to its storage bunker. Then the glass is taken out with more star screens and crushed and taken outside. Unfortunately, you can't see it because the glass goes everywhere, so it's enclosed. So the aluminum, even though it's not magnetic, there is an eddy current, a rare earth magnet, or different magnetism, I should say, that doesn't pull aluminum, but it pushes it. And then the plastics, the way we separate out the different types of plastic, we have what they call an optical sorter. With optical lights, and the computer detects what type of reflection, how it reflects, a burst of air separates it out. So it's about 90% accurate. So it's a very good machine. It was originally designed for the potato chip industry. And then we also have hand sorters that take out the material, all the other plastics that are still remaining in there. And you can see all the material is put into a storage bunker, and you can see how filled it gets, and then it gets released for the baling process. Now, we have 3 balers at our recycling facility. Each one is designated for a type of material. We have 1 baler for paper, as you can see all the way to the right. That's the baling wire. You can see there's large spindles of baling wire. That you can see what it looks like when a plastic #1 bottle bale comes out. This is the paper bale coming out. You can see that's very clean. It goes through the whole process. The forklift just picks up the material and takes it, you'll see, to the shipping container. We also have a dedicated baler for cardboard as well. I don't think it's in this video, but it's there. So once the forklift takes the material, loads it up into the shipping container, it goes to the other manufacturing plant wherever it's scheduled to go. Typically, paper products, I think we're trying to keep, paper products do go internationally. Any type of metal and plastic, our policy is we're trying to keep it, or we do keep it in the United States to avoid any plastics to be, going into the ocean. So we made a decision, working closely with Greenpeace, that all of our plastic from the recycling, from the residential recycling, does stay in the United States and domestically. And
awesome.
That is it.
Thank you so much, Shiraz. And while Yeni put her screen on, here we have our rolls of tape recyclable.
Rolls of tape. What type of tape would that be? Like Scotch tape, or what type of tape?
Yeah, they didn't say, but I guess something like that.
So I'm assuming tape is usually like a plastic with adhesive. The answer would be no. However, the cardboard, all the way down to the core where the tape is actually wrapped around, that cardboard or whatever it's made of, usually it's cardboard, that cardboard can be recycled.
All right. And my favorite, pizza boxes. They're asking about pizza boxes.
Right. So yes, that is a good question. Pizza boxes, unfortunately, because of the food waste and the grease, they can't be recycled. If someone is really intent on recycling a pizza box, you get a pizza, maybe the top is all greasy with food, or the bottom is all greasy with food, you can rip it up, fold it, and put it in there. But again, largely I tell people no pizza boxes.
Awesome. And then Shiraz, we have a couple of questions that you can answer in the Q&A, but we'll keep moving because we still have the other panelists. So Yeni, all yours.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to briefly cover recycling in Miami Beach. For those of you who don't know, recycling is the law within our city, which means that all properties, whether they're condominiums or single-family homes, have to have a recycling program in place, a single-stream recycling program in place. And if you don't, we highly recommend that you please let us know if you live in a condo and you find that your building isn't providing you recycling. You can either report your non-compliance through the eGov app. You can just go over to the App Store and download that. Or you can email me and we'll work out something with your property management company or the manager of your building to make sure that we get recycling there for you. One of the things for you to consider, and one of the main messages we're trying to send out today, is how overthinking recycling is not necessary. Just focus on the main items that Shiraz mentioned: cans, plastic bottles, paper, cardboard, and glass. Those are if you just focus on those things, you'll make sure to reduce the amount of contamination that we see within our city. And that's really the main rule that or at least the main message that we're trying to get across today to everyone. And I also want to cover a couple of other programs that we have outside of our regular single stream recycling program. We do have events throughout the year for hazardous waste, which includes paint cans, batteries, oil, things of that sort. Right now, we don't have one scheduled, but the county home chemical collection centers do accept all those items. And if you go to our website, which is mbrisingabove.com/recycle, you'll see a list of all the different locations of where you can take all these different items. And we also have textile recycling. I know I noticed in the chat a couple of people asking about it. We have 5 bins scattered throughout the city where you can drop off your shoes, your clothes, and even bed sheets if you want, and we'll have it recycled. And we also have the green waste facility, which is located at 2800 Meridian Avenue, and it's open from Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there's also a textile recycling bin there for you. Within that same facility, we also accept electronics, and we accept electronics during our hazardous waste events whenever we have them scheduled. So I know this is a lot of information, but we have the address and the locations for all these different areas on our website. So please go to mbrisingabove.com/recycle, and you'll have all the information there.
Thanks, Jenny. And this was really good because we have several questions about oil, batteries, and textiles. So guys, if you guys live in Miami Beach, here we go. We do have a program for that. So thanks for sharing, Annie.
Thank you. All right, so now we'll move on to Coral Gables.
Hey everybody, Matt, I'm the Senior Sustainability Analyst with the City of Coral Gables. Real quickly, I just want to go over how we handle recycling in Coral Gables. We provide our own service to single family residents. We do have waste management that handles our multifamily and our commercial properties. And we do that recycling a lot differently than most municipalities. We service over 11,000 single family homes in Coral Gables, and we provide actually side door service once a week. So our residents, kind of different from Miami-Dade County, don't take their stuff to the curb. We have staff that go to the back of the home or side door and be able to collect the recycling right there. And we actually have 13-gallon bins that don't have lids. So you could see in the top left picture, a picture of one of our guys picking up the recycling. And it may seem small, but it's actually really advantageous when it comes to controlling our contamination rate. And I'll talk about that a little bit and the importance of that. We have a goal similar to what the state has, is 75% waste diversion in Coral Gables. And we actually, the stuff that isn't recyclable, we take 99% of that to our municipal solid waste, to the waste to energy plant that's in Doral, which actually incinerates it and uses it to create energy for their facility. And on our residential contamination rate, so between educating our residents, which I'll talk about on the next slide, and our efforts there, and our staff that is able to actually see what is in the recycling bin when they go once a week to each household, they actually can help control the contamination rate. And we did an analysis, and it showed that our residential contamination rate is only at 8%, which is incredible, because even if you look at places similar like Miami-Dade County that have the large bins with the lids, their contamination rate, Shiraz, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is like 40 to 50% contamination. So that's something that we're really trying to control in Coral Gables, is keeping that contamination rate below 10%. So then when we're providing, and our residents are doing a great job on recycling, when we provide this material to waste management, when we take it to their facility, that it is pristine material that they're collecting, and there's not a lot of contamination within that, which Shiraz did a great job covering. Next slide. And real quickly, I just wanted to talk about, Yanni already talked about kind of what they do in Miami Beach, and we do similar things. We have e-waste and household hazardous waste collection events twice a year. And we've been doing this since I came on board with the city 4 to 5 years ago. And we've diverted over 185,000 pounds of household hazardous waste and e-waste that otherwise probably would have ended up in our landfill. We've diverted and been able to either recycle that material or dispose of it in a more environmentally friendly manner. So we have those events twice a year. We're in the process of rescheduling our April event. And that should be coming out soon what that new date will be. And we have another event scheduled in November. And those are very popular events. Our residents love those events. We get well over 1,000 people there in just 3 hours. So again, very popular. We also were one of the first cities to do a prescription drug disposal program. And we have a bin that's located in our police department where people can bring their unwanted prescription drugs and they're disposed of in an environmentally friendly manner, where we take it to the incineration facility and they're incinerated to keep them from either ending up in our waterways, people flushing them down the toilet, or ending up in the wrong hands, and helping control that as well. And I think kind of what Shiraz and everyone's alluded to is recycling. We've really tried to simplify our message in Coral Gables for our residents and for our commercial properties, and really just make recycling simple, to how Shiraz covered it. We include material on our waste bill, social media, newsletters, and really what we did is we said, okay, just stick to the narrow neck plastic bottles. Like I said earlier, we went away from the number system because it was confusing people. Stick to cardboard, glass, aluminum, and that sort of thing. And it used to be with recycling, and Shiraz, you can correct me, it used to be like, when in doubt, put in the recycling bin. Now it's when in doubt, leave it out, throw it out. If you have any hesitation about that, just leave it out of the recycling bin altogether, because contamination is such a critical thing that we need to be looking at. So that's what really, real briefly, what we've been doing in Coral Gables. If anyone has any other questions, I'm happy to answer that. You can visit our website at coralgables.com/recycling, and we try to put as much information out there as possible. You can see some of the photos on here of a lot of the work that we're doing, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Can I mention something?
Sure, go for it.
Go for it.
So Matt, also, you know, when I mentioned about the textiles and the blankets and stuff, one important thing I think it's very that attendees all can have an option for is donate it to their to the shelter, to the local animal shelter. They're always in need of some type of blankets for the cats or the dogs or you know, for our furry friends. Okay, so very important that people do that as well.
Thanks, Shiraz. And now we have Elaine Christian with West Palm Beach.
Thank you. Yeah, so in West Palm Beach, we actually have the dual stream, which Shiraz had mentioned earlier. So we have a blue bin and yellow bin. We separate our paper, cardboard from the plastics and cans and everything like that, which actually helps keep our items cleaner. And we're also, we have the highest tonnage rate in Palm Beach County, so we're leading the trend in our area. And the Solid Waste Authority has been a really great partner for us. They service Palm Beach County. And, you know, with the bags, you see a picture of the bags there. They give those tote bags out for free, and it really explains really well how to recycle. So on each side, it shows what goes in your yellow bin, what goes in your blue bin. They also have this picture in the top right corner is actually a picture of the magnet that they hand out, and they hand out posters. I've worked with schools, businesses, and residents, and these are all really key educational components to help decrease our contamination rate. And we're really just trying to reduce what goes into our landfill so we can extend the life cycle of the landfill. So that's our goal, and that's all for me. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Elaine. And actually, you just reminded me. So I know that recycling is important for many of us, but it's also not the first, the first action you should take. You should always think about reducing first, reusing, and recycling should always be the last step.
Yes, totally agree.
Very true, Yanni. And I saw a lot of questions popping out about textile recycling. Guys, we actually had a Sustainachella where we cover a lot of those, and the name of the Sustainachella, Closing the Loop. Here we go. So you guys can go to our Sustainachella webpage and watch Closing the Loop. We have the recording there, and you can learn much more about textile recycling. All right, Yanni, are you ready for the moment? All right, guys, we're going to Sustainachella. We are in Sustainachella. We're going to the Kahoot right now, and then we'll go back to more questions to the panelists. So now, the moment you've been waiting for. And the panelists, you guys know how this works. You guys can dance, you guys can, you can just not get naked, but you can do whatever you want. Here we go.
So for those of you joining for the first time, pull out your phones and go to the URL that you see here, kahoot.it, and put in the game pin that you see listed on here, 4290704. If this is your first time playing, you get points based on the correct answer and how fast you answer. At the end of the game, we're gonna choose the top 3 people. They'll get a prize, and all you have to do is just email me, let me know you're a winner, and we'll work something out from there. So we'll give everyone about a minute to join, and then we'll get started. I know we have a lot of people here, but not everyone's signing up.
And for the pros, guys, if you guys want to give any tips, come on, be nice. Be competitive. You guys are going to get better competitors with you if you share. Oh, and the panelists, you guys can play too. I mean, I doubt that you guys are going to get top 5 because we have a lot of Kahoot pros. I know you know the answer, but they're pretty pros, so, but you can join. Yenny, you know what? While we wait, can we answer one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Are there any cement factories here in South Florida able to burn recyclables as part of their production? And you're muted, Shiraz.
So I don't know if that's something that we're doing. It's not burn recyclings. Probably what you mean is either burn trash or contamination as part of their cement kiln, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we do that as of yet. I know Rinker or Cemex are 2 big companies that they do have facilities in South Florida, but again, I know they probably do that. I don't know if we're providing them any trash or contamination from the recycling.
Okay, cool. And yeah, I think we're good. So
yeah, let's
take Shiraz. We'll keep moving and then we'll go back to Q&A. Are you ready?
Which of these can be endlessly recycled? Aluminum cans. Let's see who's at the top. Roser. I hope I said that right. Sophie and 3 R's. Okay, next question. Why aren't plastic bags recyclable? All of the above. Purple turtle's back.
And I think it's a reuser, no? Yeah. It's a reuser. And
yeah.
Yes, of course.
Reuser. Oh God, now I'm embarrassed. Next question. Pizza boxes are recyclable. True or false? False. They can't be recycled because of the oils from the food. Same people at the top. All right, next question. Disposable coffee cups are not recyclable. True or false? Definitely true. Awesome. Let's move on to the next question. Which of these paper products is not recyclable? That's correct. It's used napkin. Remember, it's supposed to be clean paper and clean cardboard. Reusers still at the top. True or false, recyclables should be placed in a plastic bag. This one's easy. Definitely false because plastic bags aren't recyclable.
We hate plastic bags, guys.
Yep.
Come on. They're
Last
useless.
question. Choose the correct option. The correct order is what it should have read.
I love the Rihanna.
I realized I misspelled the name. That's correct. It's reduce, reuse, recycle in that order.
Why can't we include Rihanna?
We should. Winners, 3 R's. Number 3.
Jonas,
Sophie, number 2.
And
Reuser, number 1. Awesome. Congrats, everyone.
awesome. All right. All right. And panelists, if you guys have another minute or so, okay. And guys, if you guys have any burning questions, now it's the time. Throw in the Q&A, not the chat, because you guys got me like, whoa, all over the place. Where do we recycle corrugated election yard signs?
Okay, so I think most of the time they're coroplast. Coroplast, I think that's what it's called. Those, unfortunately, you can't recycle in residential recycling programs or commercial recycling programs. It requires to be recycled in some specialized, there's some companies that may do that. You'll have to find where, but usually you can't put them in the recycling stream, in the residential or commercial recycling stream. So those are trash, unfortunately.
All right. And then I have folks asking about blueberries, the plastic that blueberries come in.
The clamshells.
And the yogurt lids.
Right. So remember, when it comes to plastic, the litmus test is narrow neck. If it's not a narrow neck, then I don't know what to tell you. It's trash, unfortunately.
All right. And guys, sorry, go ahead, Sharon.
The same thing with the yogurt containers. I know, I do, before this whole pandemic, there was quite a bit of presentations that I've given throughout the years. And the number one question I get a lot of the times is because of those clamshells and the yogurt containers. So unfortunately, those things cannot be recycled. I know there's some companies that like Stonyfield. I know Whole Foods has like a specialized recycling program for number 5 plastics, but that's very specific to a vendor that does that. But in general, yogurt containers and clamshells are not recyclable.
Awesome. And one more time from our panelists, what is the order, guys, again? Rihanna, what is it?
Rihanna recycle. No, Rihanna reduce, reuse, recycle.
Right.
Sorry, Rihanna, you come at the last. We have to leave Rihanna to the last here, not the first. But anyways, all right, awesome. So guys, just quickly here, reminding you guys that this Thursday, we are going to have a hurricane prep Sustainachella. If you guys are, if this is your first hurricane, or you guys are like me that leave everything for the last minute, really good to come and learn about hurricane prep. So join us next Thursday. And then, would like to thank all our amazing panelists, Shiraz, Elaine, Yanni, Matt, and also our amazing team, Michelle, Betsy, Yanni, and Amanda. And loving it. finishing up with love and gratitude. But before I wrap up, panelists, do you guys want to share anything, say anything? You guys are shy?
No, anyone? Matt, you want one last meow for the road? I said it.
Yeah,
I
like
got it in
send
there.
out to my mom, to my father. Okay, and guys, I would also like to end up, you know, with a note that Black Lives Matter. We did have, you know, a note during the last Sustainachella. So if you guys missed that, go to the recording. It was with Robin from West Hollywood. Really, really awesome talk about it and things that you can do to support social justice. And again, sustainability, like a community is not sustainable without addressing social justice. So it's our problem. And here I'm trying to show what is behind me. It's all of us. It's our problem. And together we can definitely build a better world. So, all right, so ending up with much love and gratitude, sending lots of love and gratitude for all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. Hurricane Prep.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us. You guys rock.